On August 20th, 1989, just after midnight, 911 received a call, and the caller, Lyle Menendez, was continuously crying and screaming.
What's the problem? What's the problem? What's the problem?
Someone killed my parents.
Pardon me?
Someone killed my parents.
What? Who? Are they still there?
Yes.
The people...
No.
Were they shot?
Hey, man, dude.
Were they shot?
Yes.
They were shot?
Yes.
After this call, within just 5 to 6 minutes, Beverly Hills police arrived at the Menendez home. Officers called out for Lyle, telling him they were outside the house. Lyle and Erik came out and run toward the police. The officers confirmed with them whether anyone was still inside, and the brothers answered, "No, no one's inside." When the police finally stepped inside, what they saw was horrifying and almost beyond words. The living room was covered in blood. There was brain matter on the walls, skull fragments, and flesh scattered around. It was a gruesome scene that showed the sheer brutality of the murders. After this, the police started the initial investigation and asked them questions like, "Where were you when someone was shooting your parents?" At this, Lyle replied that they had gone to watch a movie. He also suggested to the police that this might be the work of a gang or mob activity. Lyle's suggestion was based on the brutality of the crime and because of Jose's business connections. Lyle's father worked as an executive at Live Entertainment, a company that handled music, video distribution, and film production, and his mother was a school teacher earlier, but later, after giving birth, she became a full-time homemaker. Time kept passing, and the police continued the investigation. They didn't really find anything significant lead in this case. On the other hand, after the death of their parents, both Lyle and Erik's lifestyle completely changed. Both brothers, Lyle and Erik, started spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on luxury items from their father's wealth. Lyle bought a cafe in New Jersey, along with 3 new Rolex watches, and also purchased a Porsche Carrera sports car. On the other side, his younger brother, Erik, was no less. He too spent his father's money carelessly. Erik hired a full-time tennis coach, began competing in international tennis tournaments, and spent large amounts of money on different tours. During this time, they spent approximately $700,000 in total. This unusual spending made the police begin to see the brothers as suspects, thinking they might have had a financial motive. After killing their parents, Erik couldn't find peace of mind because of the guilt and pressure. Since they had committed such a serious crime, he started seeing a psychologist to calm his thoughts and reduce the tension. During one of the therapy sessions, Erik eventually confessed to his psychologist, Jerome Oziel, about how he and his brother had murdered their parents. Oziel later told his mistress, Judalon Smith, about the confession. Oziel even began secretly recording his sessions with Lyle and Erik. But when Oziel and his mistress broke up, Smith went directly to the police and revealed the brothers' involvement in the murders. Lyle was arrested on March 8, 1990, outside their Beverly Hills home, while Erik turned himself in 3 days later after returning to Los Angeles from Israel, where he had been participating in a tennis tournament. Both brothers were denied bail and were jailed separately. When the police began their investigation, both brothers made a shocking confession. 2 days before their parents' murder, on August 18, 1989, Lyle and Erik went to several gun stores to buy handguns. However, there was a problem with Erik's driver's license, which caused a 2-week waiting period. Since they couldn't wait, they decided instead to buy shotguns. They purchased Mossberg 12-gauge shotguns along with boxes of birdshot and buckshot ammunition. Erik was able to complete the purchase by using a stolen driver's license from Lyle's friend, Donovan Goodrow. Then came August 20th, 1989. That evening, Jose and Kitty were watching The Spy Who Loved Me in the theater room of their Beverly Hills mansion when Lyle and Erik entered carrying loaded shotguns. Erik fired 6 shots at his father, including one directly to the back of his head. Afterward, he turned to his mother. Kitty was shot 10 times. At first, she fell to the floor and tried to crawl away, but as Lyle ran outside toward the car, Erik reloaded his gun and fired the fatal shots at her face and other parts of her body. After the murders, they stayed at the house for some time, expecting that gunshots might alert the police, but nothing happened. Then they removed their bloody clothes, which had traces of blood, and also disposed of the guns. The two then went to a movie theater to watch Batman, intending to use it as an alibi, but this plan failed because the theater had time-stamped ticket stubs. After that, they headed to the Taste of LA festival. Upon returning home and seeing no police presence, Lyle called 911. The first trial began in July 1993. Media were allowed in the courtroom, and the trial was broadcast on television. In court, both brothers, Lyle and Erik Menendez, claimed that they killed their parents out of fear for their lives. They alleged that their parents had always abused them, especially their father, who they said sexually abused them. They also described their mother as a negligent woman, mentally unstable, and struggling with alcoholism and drug addiction. Lyle stated that his father had sexually abused him for 2 years, and Erik said that his father had sexually abused him since childhood. However, these claims did not provide any real advantage to the brothers. The prosecution argued that the sexual abuse allegations were fabricated, as no such abuse was mentioned in their discussions and recorded sessions with their psychologist. Throughout the trial, it became clear that Lyle and Erik were capable of lying frequently and in great detail to avoid getting caught, which meant they could also lie about child abuse to avoid the death penalty. Prosecutor Pam Bozanich played Lyle's staged 911 call for the jurors to show how convincingly he acted. After a month of deliberations, the trial ended in a mistrial in January 1994 due to 2 deadlocked juries. Female jurors suggested voluntary manslaughter, while male jurors pushed for first-degree murder. The second trial began in 1995, where different witnesses were called to testify. Among them was Lyle's former fiancée, Jamie Pisarcik, who said that Lyle had tried to bribe her into giving false testimony during the first trial. The defense also challenged Erik's claim that he had been raped at the age of 18. In the end, both brothers were convicted on 2 counts of first-degree murder. On July 2, 1996, they were sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. On the same day, July 2, 1996, Lyle married Anna Erickson by telephone, but they divorced on April 1, 2001, after Erickson discovered that Lyle was cheating on her by writing to another woman. In November 2003, Lyle married Rebecca Sneed. They had known each other for around 10 years before their engagement. Lyle and Sneed separated in 2024. On June 12, 1999, Erik married Tammy Ruth Sackelman in the waiting room of Folsom State Prison. Now, if we talk about appeals, the brothers filed appeals at different times, but they were not successful for many years. Decades later, in 2023, new attention came to the case after former Menudo music band member Roy Rosselló claimed that Erik and Lyle's father, Jose Menendez, had raped him when he was 14. This claim was used to push for a new hearing. Finally, in May 2025, the brothers were resentenced to 50 years to life, making them eligible for parole due to youth offender laws. However, in August 21, 2025, both Lyle and Erik were denied parole due to prison rule violations, cell phone use in prison, and concerns about risk to society, with their next hearings set for 2028. The Menendez brothers' trial wasn't just about 2 young men who killed their parents. It became a nationwide debate about wealth, abuse, and justice. Even today, people are divided. Were Lyle and Erik cold-blooded murderers, or victims who finally snapped after years of torment? What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you found this story worth discussing, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you won't miss the next true crime case we uncover.